And welcome, my friends, to live stream August the 13th, 2/5. And of course, our work is around the magic and the mystery of the star tetrahedron.
Just got a text from Frances.
Mm-hmm.
Said she'd like to join us, but she didn't get the link.
Check again.
Okay.
Check. It went out a little bit late today.
Okay.
Upper triangulation is divine power, which is the focusing of attention, focusing consciousness. And we focus consciousness upon love, imagination, which then creates the mystical marriage, the Christ star, the crystalline structure of manifestation. And as the upper triangulation is turning right to left clockwise, and the lower triangulation left to right counterclockwise, it creates literally a vortex within the middle, which is a black hole, just like the center of a galaxy. And from out of it, consciousness then emanates its imagination, its focus, and then manifestation occurs as it is precipitated into form. Precipitated. And the chat tonight is about focusing attention and creating, which is simply quantum physics. We know from studies in quantum physics that all life is an emanation in its originality of simply waves of energy. Waves of energy. And when we focus consciousness upon those waves of energy, the wave literally collapses into particles of manifestation. But when you then turn away, it goes back to a wave. So behind you, there's nothing but waveform, but somebody is observing it, so it's precipitating into manifestation. But nevertheless, everything being simply a waveform that through consciousness collapses into manifestation, it is your focus and attention that creates that collapsing of the wave into particles of creation. And the upper triangulation, of course, is the focusing of attention, divine power. Power is simply light, it's focus, it's attentionality. And what we then love or hold our attention upon, it then collapses the waveforms of creation into that manifestation. I was working with a client recently, and I noticed within their field around the second chakra, kind of in back of them, there was a kind of a small gray cloud. And as I looked into it, it was this woman was quietly and almost unconsciously wanting her father to be different. And by wanting that, she was then holding his energy to her that she perceived to be negative. And she was holding it to her because she was quietly hoping that if he would change and be different, he would finally be able to love her. And as that childlike part within, finally make her good enough. And so with women, they're often looking for their fathers to love them, to make them good enough. But of course, often the male within our society is so caught up in thinking and making and doing, there's little real feeling of love, even though there is the caretaking and the desire to uphold the family unit. It's often based more upon thinking and mind rather than actually heart feeling. And I'm not saying that's for every man, but for the general population. And this in particular was part of her scenario, that her father was very mental, always quite busy, took great care of the family unit, but the little girl didn't really feel loved. She felt love from her mother, an actual holding, kind of tenderness that was there and viable and let her know that the feminine is just fine with mother. And so there was no energy around here of her mother, of wanting her to be different. It was mutual sharing. But the father still having that sense of, if you finally change enough and learn to really feel and hold yourself in a place of real clarity, you'll be able to love me. And I, in that unconscious childlike part of me, will then feel good enough. And so she was disliking, and this is a little bit what our theme today is: if you like something, you draw it to you. But whatever you dislike, you also draw it to you. You're simply, again, focusing attention on something, and the waveform of creation, this quantum soup, it then collapses into that. And in one way, it was a gift for her, because by recognizing, as of course she was fortunate enough to be with me and I was able to help her see and feel that there was that feeling still that if the father would love me, I would be good enough. And she was holding that within her auric field. She was disliking the way he was. But in that dislike, it was simply holding that same energy wave of what she disliked around her, rather than simply observing that whoever he is and whatever he is doing and being is perfect for his soul. And so one can observe that this person is in a certain frame of consciousness, a certain behavior. It's an observation. But the moment you dislike something or like something, that attention upon it then creates it to be drawn to you. And so we need to be clear in our distinction. Am I simply observing life, or are there things around me I'm disliking? And we know within our particular society today and what's going on politically and socially and worldwide with politics that there's a lot of chaos. But once again, it's simply souls that have downloaded from the higher being they are their karma. And no one is victims in this divine play. They're simply actors and players who come together to focus attention and feeling upon what they like or dislike, and they then draw someone who has a similar vibration to them, and then they meet, and it's either love and sharing, or it's discontent and war and fighting and manipulation and control. But what they're drawing to them is what they need to draw to them in order to feel the emotion that's within. And by feeling the emotion, be it anger or sadness or grief, that's the key. That's why you are co-creating all of these things that you're liking and disliking in the world. It's just your soul bringing to you opportunities to feel within every circumstance what's the emotion. Now, we always make a distinction between feelings and emotions. Feelings are clockwise spirals of joy, creativity, imagination, adventure, excitement, enthusiasm, childlike magic. Those are the quality of the magical child. It's innate within children. It can soon be covered over with programs of dislike and judgment, but the innate qualities of a child: joy, creativity, imagination, excitement, splendor. And if those qualities were allowed to flourish from the moment you were born until the now, you would always be in childlike splendor. There would be nothing that you dislike, because you're not trying to make something different out there to feel love. You feel the love that is within from the divine being that you are, because you were honored by your mother and father to recognize that within yourself. So there's really no error that's going on within the world or within people. It's every moment we're creating circumstances to give us information about how am I doing in learning to love myself, because that's the only way to freedom. When you love yourself, you then become the vibration of Source. Source is love. And the very first emanation from out of the Big Bang, it was a wave form of simply love. Pure creation energy, creativity, imagination, expression, expansion, all of those qualities. But it was still governed by one consciousness, Source. And Source, wanting to create free will beings, allowed then divine mind to be implanted within human beings so they could begin to judge and to criticize, and they could begin to have free will. I like this, I don't like that. I want to manipulate here, I want to control here. I want this land, I want this woman, I want this man. On and on and on. But it's just human beings learning through experience, through eons of time. We've been on the planet as human beings for probably 150,000 years, maybe 200,000 years, with a developed right left brain, learning about love and hate and war and violence and peace. And it's just evolving all the time. And we're in this great place of evolution right now. We know that. We who are fortunate enough to be upon the path of the light, enlightenment, meditation, we know that everything is evolving very rapidly now when we're moving into this place of a whole new expression of humanity, moving towards real peace and love and sharing. But it's a minority of humanity, maybe 5, maybe 9% at most. I know when I began this particular spiritual work 40 years ago, it was not like this at all. You had to really search and try and find information, or there was no YouTube, there was no videos, there was very little, really sharing going on. It was simply by word of mouth or maybe to a group of people at church or something. But now it's everywhere. You can go on YouTube, you can go on podcasts. It's just flourishing everywhere because this is the time of the great change. But in this great change that's occurring, it's also stirring up a lot more energy to be harmonized and balanced eventually. And so that's why there's so much chaos in the world. But once again, it's your opportunity to be so in touch with your feeling nature, not your mind. Your mind wants to judge it and criticize it and examine it and on infinitum and compare with other times. It's your feeling nature. How do I feel about that really? Can I get quiet and open my heart and simply reach out and feel it, hold it? As I can then feel it and hold it, I'm going to experience either love and sharing, even if I observe it's chaotic. I'm just observing it. Or am I feeling, I don't like that? That makes me angry. I'm sad about that. This is frustrating. This makes me feel lonely or worthless. Those are simply emotions that are arising from your childhood, where the magic of creativity and joy and splendor and adventure was covered over and programmed by mother, father, society with false information. But it wasn't in error. It was you, the soul, choosing your mother, your father, your culture, your society to bring to you the information, what we call karma, both the positive of a loving mother, a loving father, as well as the negative, the trials, the tribulations, the things that were difficult within your family unit. But you created it. And it's not so much that you, the ego within the body, is creating this. There's two aspects to who we are. There's mind of knowing, mind of intellect, but then there is the higher part of you, which is divine mind, which is simply the silence and the intentionality of focusing attention and through imagination creating your reality that you might think that you're a victim to. But this higher part of you is literally at one within the internet of divine mind of all creation, accessing the entire internet of creation, is pure and is perfect. But it wants to be living informed. And the only way it can do that is to help you find the emotion and to release it so every moment is simply love. When you love, you are source embodied. And then everything that you see, be it the chaos, be it the manipulation, you observe it, and with compassion, love, you allow a vibration to flow from you, literally, just like living sunlight. It flows from you, and it flows in and through the illusions of pain and suffering and manipulation and war. And very quietly, like a catalyst, it finds and feels in all creation what's the very basis of life, source. And it quietly begins to vibrate that within someone. They might not feel it, they might not know it for several years, but you have ignited, like a catalyst, the first beginning of their awakening. But if you're judging and criticizing, disliking it, you're then putting a kernel of hardness around them, saying, you're not good enough. Something's wrong with you. But every time you are feeling, observing, or believing that, you're really saying something's wrong here. There's something about me that I unconsciously yet don't love. And once again, there's nothing wrong with that. This is just a planet of information. How can I keep gathering information to me about my state of being embodied within form to ferret out any subtleties of emotion that might keep me separate from knowing I am source? Living in love and being truly a creator of free will. And with that feeling of creator of free will, knowing that through the magic of the star tetrahedron that I have informed in consciousness and light around me and through me, I can quietly and powerfully focus my mind, attention like light, and I can hold it on creative joy and goodness and grace and harmony and peace, and it will manifest. And thus you can be trusted with all the powers of heaven and earth. I think that's one of the things that they say in the New Testament. Only when you love can you be trusted with all the powers of heaven and earth. Because if you had this ultimate focusing of divine mind and you were able to focus upon hate or something that's out of balance, you would magnify it so outrageously. That's what some of the great despots of our population in the past have done. And they destroyed. And that destruction, there's growth, there's unfolding, but it's horrendous. But once again, it's all for the edification of each individual. So, feelings being clockwise spirals of creative joy and magic, it's living, LIVE, in love within the body of Source God. Clockwise spiral, living in love. That's a feeling. Joy, creativity, adventure, imagination, excitement, enthusiasm. But when someone comes along and judges and criticizes and condemns it, it then creates a counterclockwise spiral around it. A kernel of judgment, a kernel of dislike, and now it's live spelled backwards, EVIL. And it creates darkness within the aura. That's all darkness is. And if you see darkness in the world, that counterclockwise spiral, and you dislike it, you're going to be drawing some of that to you to help you find and feel, what do I yet dislike within me? So that you can go in and find that childlike part of you that was born pristine and innocent and filled with magic. And you can reparent it. You can stand beside the child within you as the father of power, attention, the ultimate love of mother and tenderness, and hold yourself in each moment in that place. And then you'll observe the world as a place of just people growing and unfolding and learning to love. And there'll no longer be anything that bothers you or gets you out of balance, and you'll be a creator. It's the simplicity of it. But that's why we have emotions and feelings, to help us ferret out what within me yet feels separate from love. And once again, it's the beauty of quantum physics. It's a law, quantum physics, that everything is a wave form. And the moment you bring attention and focus to it, your likes, your dislikes, it collapses into reality. Individuals like Jesus, who are able to master focusing of mind and imagination, created loaves and fishes effortlessly. They're able to see into someone who believed they were diseased. And with the focusing of attention and love, he saw only the perfection that was within. And it woke up. But then he said, go forth and sin no more. Because once again, if you come back to that place of judgment and criticism and dislike, your body will reflect it. That's all dis-ease is. There's nothing wrong with dis-ease. It shouldn't be condemned or judged or disliked. It's simply the soul saying, here's a very poignant way to find and feel within and around you what's going on. What is it is not yet loved? And it is always emotion. And it was given to you from 0 to 7 when the mind was not developed. You lived in your feeling nature, and it was judged and criticized, not by bad people, but by situations and individuals that you and the soul drew to you to help you ferret out your karma and be free. It's all beautiful, perfect. Pretty exciting, especially as we go forth and realize the light is growing so tremendously, and it's calling us to really begin to feel and be aware of, what am I really feeling within me? Not what am I thinking so much, but what am I really feeling? Is that bothering me? Well, where does that live within me? Is it my third chakra anger? Is it my second chakra sadness and grief? Maybe my first chakra fear and worry. Or maybe it's my heart. I don't feel lovable. I don't really feel I can receive love. Or maybe it's my throat chakra. I don't really feel good about speaking my truth. Or maybe it's the brow chakra. I don't have a real vision of what I would like to create. And so I have headaches, and my vision is off. Always connected to some emotion. And if you feel the emotion and settle through it, it's like you're moving upon a ripple, a waveform. You're moving back through time, space, and you'll find that childlike part that was judged or criticized or disliked. And you'll step into that equation as this great golden being of light you are. And you will learn how to reparent the child, to let it feel within you this divine power, this unquenchable love that holds you every moment. And if you could do that from this moment forward, if you could be aware of this magical child, and love that part of you, you would have no travail again in the rest of your life. Everything would be just roses and rainbows because you would be vibrating to source. That's the simplicity of it. But to help you, there is the emotional body, the gift of free will to awaken you to your divine self. One of the things that really assists us is drawing in our breath from the open doorway within the heart. And we think it's just breathing, but it's what we've been talking about, quantum physics. So what you focus the mind upon and imagine, it collapses the waveform that's arising forth out of the void into manifestation. And so when you're breathing in the waveform of pure spirit. And with gentle exhale, you are seeing and feeling it as sparkling, effervescent light through every cell and tissue of your body. And just like sunlight going out to the world, I am the gift of life. So it's a very important tool, really, in our awakening. And if something gets you off during the day and you come back to your breath and begin to breathe from the open doorway, the field of the waveform of spirit, focus attention upon seeing and feeling gold and liquid love and light flowing from you, you'll watch everything around you change. Not because you need it to change, you're not trying to manipulate it, you're simply acknowledging Source lives everywhere. And I am the focusing of Source. So I'll take you through about 5 minutes of quiet breathing. So let's sit quietly and feel the body relaxing. You would like to think of the body as solid, but it's really space. Feel the space within the tissues. Feel space within the body. Let go and feel space within and all around. What I focus my attention upon and feel becomes real. I feel space within me and all around me as I expand and let go. And then I gently bring my attention to the heart chakra at the sternum. And I know within is the doorway. I am the doorway to Source. Truth, I am the doorway. And as we're breathing in, we are summoning the waveform of spirit with all possibilities within it. And with gentle exhale, I imagine I see golden liquid light within the space form of all the cells and tissues of my body. And living sunlight from all around me is my gift to life. I see it, I feel it. I collapse the waveform of spirit into manifestation. I am consciousness sitting at the doorway. On one side is spirit, waveform of all possibilities. With my in-breath, I draw this magnificent waveform through the doorway as I see and feel it manifest as living light. I am consciousness. I am the light. I am source coming into manifestation. All very true statements of reality. This is my practice, focusing the attention of the mind upon the waveform, drawing it from source through the open doorway, and I, as consciousness, collapse it into manifestation. Jesus could do it with such authority, he became the transfiguration, pure light. The sun is but a wave form of source becoming living light to feed the planet, to nurture all life. Same energy, same source. I am the light. And breath summons source, the waveform of ultimate manifestation flowing through me. The simplicity of breath. There are passages in the Bible that say God is the breath of life. True statement. All possibilities being drawn from the waveform of spirit. All possibilities. Imagination and focus collapsing it into creation. I am loving my body. I am loving myself. I am loving creation. I am source. All that exists, I am. Is only the illusion of separation. Only source exists within creation. And I breathe all possibilities. As I sit at the doorway of the divine, I am consciousness. I have created this physical form to be within the dimensional worlds, to become a creator God I am, to be the breath of life. And another deep breath. And as it feels comfortable, to allow yourself to slowly come back into the now. So I will take you through the focusing of and creation of the star tetrahedron. Once again, you are a field of consciousness that has collapsed the waveform of creation into a physical form in order to become a creator being. I am sitting at the doorway and I am breathing life and light into this dimension. So once again, we'll simply close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. And we'll bring our attention to the open doorway within the heart, the place of creation. I focus consciousness and observe above me the triangulation of divine power and is flowing from left to right clockwise. I sit at the open doorway and observe a triangulation of living light beneath me into earth. Divine love, mother, flowing right to left. The focusing of consciousness and light, the Christ matrix, the creator. And I sit at the doorway observing the movement of living light, knowing from within, Source is arising forth. I am the living light. I will sit quietly and join with you, and we will create living light, flowing, weaving, manifesting. in very easily now. Slowly coming back into the now. And thank you very much for joining in tonight. Quite a wonderful group. Good light, powerful radiance. Earth is changing. Thanks, my friends. We will see you all soon. Have a great one.